And my presentation is about the referendum. And I do have our architect here to show some renderings, to answer some questions from the board. The critical piece is making this move. The critical piece to this discussion is, what are we here to discuss? I want to talk a little bit tonight about facts versus opinions, wants versus needs, the quality of the township versus taxes, and district feedback. Because people who've been supporting our schools and following the district know that we went out for a referendum just less than a year ago, December 8th, 2015. And to clarify everything, a referendum is asking the voters to approve the board's ability as a public entity to bond money. That's it. If the voters say no, or we do not get enough yes votes, which is what we look at it, as we had very low turnout, we're not able to bond money like other public institutions. However, the big catch is the issues don't go away. We just can't bond the money at that time to address the issues. So the board, because it's a board based in a community of connection to the township, to the taxpayer, we want to stay connected. So when the results came in and the referendum did not pass, and there was more no's than yeses and a very small turnout, the board still did their due diligence. They said, take the time. We're not going back out in March. We want to get feedback. What's the feedback? What are people thinking or saying, and what do we need to do better next time? So this presentation is about that feedback. Months of hearing from our constituents, working with the township authorities, hearing from our groups. What was the reason why people didn't come out? Did they believe that we were overcrowded? Did they not believe that we are renting and leasing a school in another community? So what was that critical feedback? Because to move forward and to connect to our strategic plan of engaging our community, communication is often best when it's a two-way street. So rather than just talking all the time, the board sat back and listened, and we received many informal and formal criticisms and feedback. So moving on, so let me tell you the results of this. Oh, you know what? It helps when you put the, turn it on.
There you go.
So, you know the following. Current spaces are not enough. This is not a Board of Education problem. It's not a superintendent problem. It's not a teacher's problem. It's the educational and the township problem. We owe it to our students, we owe it to our staff, we owe it to the community taxpayers to ensure the basic right to have enough space to educate our children at a level that will prepare them in a seamless transition in their educational journey, pre-K to 12, throughout their stay in North Brunswick. We do not have enough current space. And as I mentioned before, a referendum is just a requirement of the board to simply ask for money. Facilities are over capacity. When we did not get the referendum passed, when it did not pass, the facilities didn't suddenly become bigger. We still were over capacity, we still are. Our newly leased building at the ECC, which is the Early Childhood Center in Milltown, is full capacity. There's no room to add students. And we are working with our township authorities, the mayor, the council, because there's one taxpayer here in North Brunswick. There's a big township expansion project going on. The vitality of North Brunswick is growing. You could feel it. The ratables are going up. The council is focused on making North Brunswick and continuing the model, making a great place to live, work, and learn. However, and they included the Board of Education's need for expansion in their master plan. Go get it at the township. We're included in it. So, unlike other public bodies who can bond money, because they're in a republic, your elected officials that make that decision, we have elected officials, but there's a quirk in the law that requires boards of ed to go out for a public referendum to bond money, even if it's deemed appropriate by all the DOE channels that took us 3 months to get back and approved. Well, we're coming out to the public again, not with the same plan, addressing the same needs and from a different perspective based on feedback. Also a reminder, look at our population growth. This is based on actual census. The reason why you don't have 2016, October 15th is the official count in 2016. So we're not at that point yet. These are the numbers from our October 15th count previous years. So what will the new school renovation provide? It will, again, relieve the safety and security concerns. It will increase the community spaces that I had many personal dialogues with the mayor. He is working with the council, looking for more opportunities for our young people because there's limited buildings. We have no Boys and Girls Club. We have no separate buildings or recreation buildings like some other communities. So the need to partner to maximize tax dollar from the community is incumbent upon the Board of Ed officials and the township officials to coexist, to collaborate. So we are collaborating. So we put that as a big part of our programming. Our selling point is that we're collaborating to meet the needs of our township by maximizing and collaborating with our township, maximizing our plans. We have to align with the township master plan, and with this plan, with this growth of North Brunswick, we are increasing the value and, more importantly, the equity people have in their homes. I can't help but say there's so many examples when townships allow their buildings to fall in disrepair, when they do not look for the future and they only react instead of be proactive. It comes back to hurt the rateables, it comes back to hurt the sale prices, and it's not recession-proof. So it's not a matter of being in a recession, a good market, bad market. If the town doesn't stay attractive, if the schools are not aligned with the master plan of renewing and revitalizing this renaissance of the new town center, this building and master planning of bringing in families, bringing in a new wave of residents, then we're certainly going to hurt that master plan and devalue our properties. So there is a connection for an obligation. Many of these board members, superintendent, when it's not about us. It really is not about us, because this is a plan for the future that we have to start now. But we can't start it, of course, without going to the public, as we did earlier, getting that feedback and coming back out to address the needs of our school district. What can homeowners expect? Increased real estate values, increased community attraction, and $8.9 million in state aid. Because we listen to our constituents, because with our help of our architect, who seemed to be living down in Trenton, making phone calls, connecting, we demanded more aid. There was a chance we were told we were going to lose. Last year we were offered $7.3 million, and we were told we may not get the 7.3. But because of working with the board and collaborating with the township and maximizing renovations and looking at different ways to address the needs, we worked with the state officials, and we received $1.6 million more in state aid, a total of $8.9 million. The average assessed home will be assessed $19 a month for this. It's a $77 million project that cost the township $68 million over 25 years. And when I say $19 a month, that's the maximum it will cost. We have it because we're projecting. We have to go and project bonds at a higher sale price. We have to project nothing to receive this building and this property, because we are looking to somehow turn this property to turn it back into some kind of community obligation, some kind of community senior obligation. Work with the township. What do we need to continue this connection to our master plan? So we take nothing off the debt service, even though we know we'll receive something for this property, because we want to give the highest maximum. As stated before, it's not fair if we say, here's what we expect the best case. We're giving the worst case scenario. So, to highlight it, 2016, we're going to go out in December 13th. It's the purest form of democracy. The ancient Greeks and Romans talked about democracy as one person, one vote, one question. The decision to move away from November because of the craziness of the presidential election, there's other questions on the ballot. There's board elections, there's council elections. We did not want to give our citizens any type of confusion of where we would be. We were going to be put so far off the ballot, this question, it's not fair. We need to go back out to the public, and we will be over the next 3 months, to talk about this, because it's not a matter of our wants, it's really a matter of needs for our students. So we need to be as fully transparent as we can and fully responsive to what we heard from the last vote. So some things we want to talk about. We proposed last year 2 schools. This year it will be 1 school, a 7th, 8th grade school, and I'll show you a wonderful picture here, our 7th, 8th grade building that will be built to have the flexibility to absorb our overcrowded middle schools while addressing the increased needs down the line, down the years, decades from now, as we project the build-out of the town center. But where's the other needs? We heard about an early childhood center. We heard about a need to move the board away from this property, and we heard a need for our 5th and 6th graders to get the 5th graders to be removed from the elementary schools. We will go back, and with our architect, we designed a plan at the state with their help and assistance. We're going to put the 5th and 6th graders in Linwood, redesign the school to address not only the 5th and 6th grade school. The board offices will be put in an existing building that will be renovated for offices, and we'll be able to design an early childhood center, corner it off to make it a school within a separate school within a bigger school, and separate entrances to address our 3- and 4-year-olds, all within existing building. So with that, we're able to reduce the total project of just cost of by $10 million, and because we were able to renovate more, we're able to receive 1.4, actually it's I believe closer to $6 million in aid. The total cost of the taxpayer is $68 million. Last plan was $79 million that we were proposing. December 13th is a vote. It's a 2 to 9 vote, 2 o'clock to 9 p.m. For the last 40 years, every vote that took place at the Board of Ed has always been 2 to 9 p.m. because of the safety of our children. We want to get our children out of the schools when the majority of voters are coming in. As you know, we're closed on Election Day. One of the reasons is because of we have our schools are polling places, and it's prohibitive to have the safety and the police officers all throughout our schools. So our children will be leaving that day while the buildings will be used for the polls. As you can see, this is the renovated school, the existing Linwood School. Where the ball fields are will be a new parking lot, separate entrance for our early childhood children. The children that right now are in Milltown. Over here is a separate entrance for the Board of Education, and then the 5th and 6th graders would enter from the front as they do now. There'll be availability of parking because the fact that we're removing a grade level, and we have we added parking just for the early childhood center staff. So the parking lot actually grows, which is very tight, very overcrowded now, by removing the teachers from one grade level of teachers from the front of the school. The next picture is again the diagram of our proposed middle school. It's a rendering. It includes the community center, community center concept that we talked to with our mayor about how we can meet the needs of our community, another building, how he supported that idea that we maximize buildings rather than the township build a rec center and the schools build a facility. It doesn't make sense. It's one taxpayer. How do we maximize that? How do we collaborate? And also includes another a smaller auditorium level of 7th and 8th grade. We're very proud of that, of our theater program. We're very proud of the recreation program in the township and the work that we do with our youngsters in the arts and the areas of arts, that we will continue that rich tradition of building community schools. If you look at the high school, built in 1973, 2 additions. I don't think there's another school like that, how it was designed in the concept of you first walk in, you have a commons. It's built like a Shakespearean play theater. And then you go on and you see so many areas where the community uses the pools, the basketball courts, the theater, and the cafeterias, and the rooms. So it's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week building. It's probably one of the few structures for people to meet here in North Brunswick, to put on activities and things like that, have involvement of our community. So we're going to continue that concept with this proposed middle school. Again, working with the people who are supporting us, who have their eye on making sure we balance the integrity of the educational program and the needs of our taxpayers. With that, this is just a rendering, a brief introduction publicly to get it out. We'll be announcing dates of presentations. We have a discussion on when we can meet. The township mayor and council do a public presentation at their meeting. We don't want anybody to miss an opportunity to comment and discuss the need, the reasons, the organization, the thought process that went involved, and how did we get to this point after, this has been about 4.5 years. So with that, we're millions of viewers, very few people here. I'll certainly open up to the Board of Ed if they have any questions, and then we'll certainly give time in our meeting to open up to anybody in the public that wants to answer a question who's here live. So with that, Madam President, board members, do I have any questions from the public? Will open up as another time. If not, I look forward to serving the needs of our students and working with our township officials to make this wonderful town continue on the road to progress, vitality, and ensuring that it's a great place to live, work, and learn. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.